Yes, you saw the title right. Are the Jaguars Super Bowl contenders? Might be a head scratcher for some people and possibly an overreaction on the game yesterday, but we have to start asking that question. I'll pose this question. Who else in the AFC are Super Bowl contenders? The Bills? They've looked sloppy and dropped a game against the Patriots this week. The Chargers? They've seemingly fallen back down to earth after a litany of injuries. The Ravens? Same problem as the Chargers, but even worse, and they could be 1-5 going into the bye. The Chiefs? Well, the Jaguars just beat the Chiefs. Maybe even the Colts. Yes. The buzzsaw division known as the AFC South. There's definitely a path for the Jaguars if they can keep this up, since the AFC field is pretty wide open right now with the top teams faltering. But let's talk about how this team got to 4-1. It's fair to say they've gotten several wins this year off the backs of their defense. I mean, what a jump their defense has taken this year. Last year, they were one of the worst defenses in the league, and now they could be considered a top 10 defense. I mean, one of the most important defensive stats is points per game allowed, and the Jaguars rank 8th in the league with 20 points per game. Now, it's not like they're stuffing teams in a locker. They give up a lot of yards per game with 342.2, which ranks 23rd, which isn't great. But if you've heard any coverage on the Jaguars, you know the one thing they are absolutely elite at: generating turnovers. They lead the league with 14 takeaways, and it isn't close. The next closest team is the Steelers with 10. In weeks 1 through 4, they had at least 3 takeaways in each game, which is pretty insane the consistency they were getting these turnovers, especially in big moments in those games. Though they weren't able to manage 3 turnovers against the Chiefs since they don't really give the ball away, but the one takeaway they did get was massively impactful. The Chiefs were on the goal line looking to take a 21-14 lead. Instead, Devin Lloyd picks it off and takes it to the house. This is what I mean by these turnovers being impactful. That play was a 14-point swing. Without that interception, it's hard to say if the Jaguars are able to win this game. Their defensive coordinator, Anthony Campanelli, has done a great job turning this defense around. He's come up with a scheme that elevates the play of his players. Turning one of the worst defenses last year into one of the best units this year is no small feat. One of the players that has heavily benefited from the new scheme is Devin Lloyd. He is one of the most improved players on this defense. Throughout his career, he's had consistency issues. There will be some games where he will ball out and show the talent he has, and then other games he would look completely lost. Previous defensive coordinators didn't really know how to use Lloyd. However, Campanelli has found a way to get the best out of him. Right now, Devin Lloyd is an early Defensive Player of the Year favorite. He leads all defenders in takeaways with 5 and interceptions with 4. Plus, he's been effective in generating pressure when blitzing. Having an elite linebacker in the NFL is extremely rare, but it can change the face of a defense. The Jaguars seem to have 2 really good ones, and a great time for Devin Lloyd to ball out since he's in a contract here. If he can keep up this level of play, he's getting a lot of money this offseason. There's also several other players on the defense that I want to point out. Josh Hines-Allen has been playing at a very high level this year. Though he doesn't really have the sack numbers right now, he's making plays in the run game and generating a ton of pressure. That pressure has directly led to turnovers, like in the Texans game. And his partner Trayvon Walker is also having a really nice season. He was unfortunately out against the Chiefs with a wrist injury, and his lack of presence was felt. The Jaguars couldn't really generate much pressure on Mahomes when they could against every other team this year. Trayvon has quietly become a really good player for the Jaguars, and has been a key piece for their defense. I don't think he'll be out for very long. And in their secondary, free agent signing Jordan Lewis has been one of the best cornerbacks in football. His leadership has allowed the Jaguars secondary to go from one of the worst last year to one of the better units. They have allowed the second lowest passer rating in the league, which is a 73.6 rating. Another free agent signing that has been playing really well is Eric Murray. He's helped solidify the safety room, which was one of the worst last year. Also, Travis Hunter has played well on defense when he's been in. But enough about the defense. Liam Coen was brought in to fix this offense, and through 5 weeks, it's been a mixed bag. But let's start with the positives. This rushing offense has been excellent through 5 weeks. Coen carried over his magic from Tampa and revitalized the Jaguars rushing attack that was bottom of the league last year. Travis Etienne looked like he was dead in the water after last year, but he's found new life in this new offense. There were a lot of trade rumors in the offseason, and it looked like Etienne could be on his way out. But he looks like he's going to keep his job this year year since he has the 4th most rushing yards through 5 games. And he's been very efficient on the ground too, with an average of 5.8 yards per carry. That puts him 2nd among running backs with at least 20 rushing attempts. And the Jaguars have a good back behind Etienne and Bashal Tutin. He's shown some great flashes and has starter potential, but he's behind an established starter. This offseason will be interesting for the running back room, but the Jaguars have bigger aspirations to worry about. Another pleasant surprise has been the offensive line. No one gave much thought to the Jaguars offensive line during the offseason. They were consistently a below average line for the past few seasons, and though they added some players in free agency, how much of a difference could they make? A cast-off center and a seemingly average guard. How would they fix this line? Turns out a big difference. Robert Hainsey has been very solid so far this season. PFF rates him as the 8th best center in football, and he hasn't given up a sack this year. Patrick McCarry has been average. PFF rates him middle of the road for guards, but he's only given up 1 sack. The Jaguars' other guard, Ezra Cleveland, has fared a bit better this year and also hasn't given up a sack. And to their tackles, their left tackle Walker Little finally has an opportunity to start a full season after sitting behind Cam Robinson for most of his career. He's been okay so far. He's had some tough games against some good edges, but he's only given up 1 sack. But the biggest impact on their offensive line has been their right tackle in Anton Harrison. He had a pretty good year in his rookie season, but last year was rough for him. He was challenged by Liam Coen this offseason, and he has responded. He's been one of the better right tackles in the league so far. Overall, this line has played like a top 5 unit. Trevor Lawrence has been kept clean in several games this year, and the running lanes they've been giving to their running backs have led to explosive plays. But this is where the Jaguars will decide whether or not they are serious contenders this year. The passing game. This has been the one part of the offense that hasn't been clicking for them. Bad throws and dropped passes have held this offense from truly reaching their potential. Leading up to the Chiefs game, Trevor Lawrence didn't really have any great games. Travis Hunter was being underutilized on offense, and Brian Thomas had a drop problem. They had been winning games off the backs of their running game and defense. Sure, the passing game made plays occasionally, but it was never consistent. And the Chiefs game started out pretty rough for Trevor, but then he started using his legs to move the offense. They weren't able to lean on the run game since the Chiefs were selling out to stop it. And then it came down to Trevor having to lead the game-winning drive. This is where he needed to show that he can take a game over. And he delivered. A beautiful throw to Brian Thomas Jr. down the sideline, and another great throw to Diami Brown to get them closer to the end zone. And on the goal line, he falls over after getting stepped on, but he gets up and scores the game-winning touchdown. In the first 4 games, there seemed to be a lack of confidence in himself. He didn't take many shots downfield and didn't trust his eyes. But on that game-winning drive, he was decisive and had the confidence that he hadn't seemed to have since 2022. If he can build on that performance, the Jaguars will be a very dangerous team. They haven't reached their full potential yet. So to answer the question posed at the start of the video, are the Jaguars Super Bowl contenders? They can be. Liam Coen has brought a fire to Jacksonville that we haven't seen in a long time. They have bettered so many of their weaknesses from last year, but it will all depend on Trevor Lawrence. Can he finally tap into the potential that he was drafted number 1 overall for? The game against the Chiefs showed a possible glimpse into it, but he needs to show it consistently in order for the Jaguars to get far. And if you made it this far into the video, I would like to thank you. I'm trying out a new format since my weekly review videos haven't been doing so great. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and sub. It will show me you guys like this type of video. But anyway, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.